Always said his name with Webber's boots mentioned.
I don't know.
Well, J for J, A for
Smile, man. I know you've got to register on the street.
Yes, Gavin, lad. Yes, Dan. Come on, Gavin. Come on, Gavin. Come on, Gavin. Come on, Gavin. This is a free roll. These are
Oh, is there any room in the commentary box? Oh, yeah. Come on, Davey! Come on, Davey! This game is worse. Jamie's sideburns. Yeah, shut down.
We were on
They're on him, excuse me.
So, Jamie Mantle to get us underway after a short break in proceedings. You're watching the last 32 match in the junior singles. Isabella de Giorgio of Australia and Jamie Mantle of England. Jamie Mantle won the lag but has gone in off, as you can see, on the first break. So, first look at Isabella. Best of 11 this match, so first player to 6 will be making it through. First time for streaming of the junior singles competition. In previous years we've only tended to stream the final stages, which has tended to be the men's and the team competitions, but nice to see more of a different range of players, particularly ones like Isabella that have come from so far away to be at this tournament. And Isabella comes into this with a big reputation back in Australia. very promising up-and-coming player. Everyone expecting good things here. Pretty good opportunity this as well for the first frame. What you really want is to get in there early on and get your hand on the table and start potting some balls, and that's exactly the opportunity that's been presented here. Jamie went in off in the centre pocket. If this wasn't the first frame, you'd be reasonably assured of a clearance here. Obviously some additional nerves. This is just a little bit awkward in that it's quite hard to reach this ball. And it's purely the fact that she was having to queue over a couple of balls there that led to that shot. That was a slightly disappointing shot after the previous couple. Finished in a position where it's difficult to get a position on the remaining yellows, but nonetheless was hoping to get the yellow a bit further forward, and also it's not ideal to have left a clean shot at this red to the middle pocket, because all the reds are now in fairly promising positions. Most of the junior players tend to be pretty accomplished potters and like to get on with the game, go for clearances where they're available, so I firmly expect to see Jamie get quickly after these balls. Both players looking fairly assured so far, certainly in their physical demeanour, no obvious signs of nerves. The first time, certainly as part of this tournament, that either of these two have appeared on the stream table. So of course, to have got to this point and to have qualified for the tournament, they'll have won a lot of matches along the way, so certainly no lack of experience in the match play department despite their relatively young age. Still okay, that's not turned out too straightforward. I think it's a little hard to tell from this angle. I think that red that Jamie's just cannoned still goes to the middle, so I think it's just a case of potting the one over the corner and just playing a decent positional shot. It's always pretty important in any match to get the first frame on the board. Best of 11's a decent distance, but at this level it's not that long a match, so hopeful to get off to a good start. Straight, this will be okay. If it's got too much angle, it might be more difficult. So as we see from the overhead angle, a little bit off straight. It's just got to be very careful with this. When they're this close together, it's just hard to get the same kind of contact. It's also hard to judge the angle in the same way. You almost have to exaggerate the angle slightly more when playing a cut like this. I'm not sure. Is it as thin as this? That seems... I'm not sure quite what is here. It looks like he can... I thought he could raise the butt of the cue and cue down on it such that he could play it with a straightish shot into the corner pocket, but it looks something different. It's very easy, of course, to get perfect position on the black. It's a funny one, that. It looked like he was aiming at exactly that angle. I couldn't understand quite what he was playing, because he never appeared to be aiming that ball straight. I don't know whether he just misjudged the angle, or if he was just trying to force the cue ball slightly to get position on the black. That always looked like where the ball was going to end up. So this is a big let-off for Isabella. She potted a couple of balls, then played a slightly tame shot, hampered queuing over some balls. That one well enough though. It's always going to be a fairly simple position to get a snooker on the red there. There's never going to be any point going for anything attacking. May as well put the onus on Jamie to get out of the snooker. If he happens to miss, then the 2 shots will be welcome. Even if he does hit it, and maybe he can hit a thin edge. I don't know if he could or not, but he didn't. So a couple of slightly loose shots from Jamie. Started off really well. This is going to be the determinant of this match though. Isabella's going to need to clear up from these kind of positions. A very presentable opportunity with the 2 visits. If she clears these ones up, she's going to be a real contender in this. Just a reminder that in parallel with this, over on the second stream table, we've got the wheelchair match between Gary Swift and Frankie Gillen. 2 very good players, so well worth a watch. My colleague Joe Fanto commentating on that one. I'm Mark Shepard, and we'll be providing the live coverage for this last 32 match between Isabella de Giorgio and Jamie Mantle. Still in the first frame of the match, but seen a bit of both players already. Both of them have played some decent shots. It's just gone a little bit astray for Jamie, the last couple. A crisp striker of the ball, Isabella. You can see how far she draws the cue back, gets through that nicely. Now, a few choices as to what to do here. She's generally played these in a fairly positive way, so I think she'll probably play this in at a reasonable pace and come across for the black. That's what she has done. That perhaps have been an option to look to drop it in a bit slower, but this looks pretty good. Tight, of course, to get past the red. The only thing you don't want to do with these shots, she's got 2 visits. That's, of course, perfect. What you want to do is put it in the heart of the pocket, nothing else matters. I was going to say, if there's any concern that ball didn't go, you're probably better just to play to set it up rather than go for a pot. We saw earlier in the team match that a couple of people took on shots like that where they had 2 visits on the black and ended up making a mess of it. No such problem here. Nice clean pot into the centre pocket. A good assured start, it has to be said, from Isabella. She needed a second visit to the table, but made absolutely no mistake when she got that visit. Done the important thing, which is to open her account on scoring. Let's see if she has any luck with a break. Her opponent went in off in the centre pocket on the first break. She's not going to be wanting to copy that. Well, that looks pretty good. 2 yellows, 2 reds down. 1 yellow and 2 reds, I should say. Got easy starters on both colours, so largely a matter of personal preference. The only 2 difficult balls are the ones that are at the bottom of the table as we look to the left of the middle pocket. Those 2 clustered together. Everything else of a fashion can be manipulated into play. It'd be nice to keep up some momentum here. Isabella won that last frame largely off a mistake by Jamie, so if she can make him pay for that by winning 2 frames, that will really help her confidence. Don't know if she was looking to just screw back there and and finish short of that cluster, or if she was purposefully playing into the cluster, felt like if she was going to play that as a cannon, she may have needed to hit it a bit harder. But unfortunately what she's done is to just knock it slightly safer than it was before, where the red could just about be potted, whereas now it's going to have to be disturbed. Just a slight grimace there. This position's just getting away from her slightly now. Do you really okay when you've got one cluster of balls you need to do something with? Two. Does this ball? No. That's a left, which always look tricky. So ultimately just a containing shot. Funnily, if she hasn't left this ball to the cue ball's nearest, if that doesn't go to the middle pocket, if it's too close, actually that is a pretty good safety. I get the feeling that both of these players are going to favour a more attacking game where that's a possibility. In this position, it certainly wasn't a possibility. How close was that? Maybe it would be relieved that the ball didn't go in, because having attempted to play a snooker, it's very frustrating when you leave your ball at the potting end on the ball. The frame's still largely in the balance. Both sets of balls are reasonably good if you're in the right position, but there's still that cluster on the right hand side that will have to be attended to. I don't think Jamie can get through to the one that's nearest to the right corner, so if he wants to start with a pot, it's going to have to be the one along the baulk cushion, which is a slightly more difficult shot. So that's safely negotiated in close to prime position now. The only issue will be over disturbing the cluster on the right hand side. Now as he left the angle, he was playing to leave himself low on this yellow, so he could just come up and nudge the yellow into a possible position. I think he's just got enough angle. Yeah, good shot. To inject a bit of pace to make the cannon. It's looked to be a pretty good potter so far. The two shots that he missed were kind of awkward ones in the first frame. It wasn't that he missed straight pots into the corners here. Just one more difficult shot to get in absolutely prime position. It's still pretty much holds true. Just yet again, one more good positional shots. It's just a couple of inches off. Now, it's a difficult shot. He's playing with a lot of right hand side and drag to try and hold the cue ball on the right hand side of the table. It was close to being perfect, but he turned a shot that wasn't really missable, played plain ball, into one that was slightly more difficult by playing it with the extra side. It's always difficult when you're playing with, it's effectively the inside side. If you're playing with right hand side there, it's kind of not the natural way of cueing that ball. It pushes the cue ball firstly away from the pot, and then it comes back towards the pot as the side takes effect. They're those shots that you need a lot of experience to judge right. They're not really anybody's favourite shots. So, very presentable opportunity. Good view there of Isabella's cue action, which is about as textbook as you could get. Everything lined up really straight, really smooth cueing style. And indeed, from both of these players, it tends to be the way with those players that are successful as juniors tend to get into the good habits early on, which sets them up well. You can see a very discernible routine as she steps into the shot, trying to replicate the same thing every time. Kept her game face on until the end of the clearance and then shot a smile to some supporters behind her. A good start so far. So Australia leads 2 frames to 0. Jamie Mantle racks up in frame number 3. No cause for alarm so far. I think the only thing that will be slightly playing on Jamie's mind is that he's had chances in the first 2 frames and it's actually looked pretty good when he was in. It's just things have slightly got away from him towards the end of both of those frames, which is where he's come to find himself 2 frames behind. Much better break off that time though. Only the 1 ball potted, which was a yellow, but the balls are nicely split up. Definitely going to be going for some kind of attacking option here. Not that much to be said between the different colours. You could probably make a case for either of them. So that yellow that's closest to the black is perhaps slightly tied up, which is what will militate towards the reds, but you've had a good chance with either. Both players great examples of cueing. Both have got a very well defined and very well replicated technique. As they both get down to play a shot, you just instinctively have a confidence that they're going to pot it. It's been letting Jamie down so far. If one's going to be ultra critical, it's just the position a couple of times. Again here, just drifted out of absolutely prime position. So I fancy him to pot this red, but it's just a case of holding the cue ball. In the circumstances, that was a good pot because yet again he was loading the cue ball up with side, and that he was playing it with the awkward side of the ball. But at that time he was playing it with left-hand side, which is not the side that naturally helps the pot. You would always rather cue with outside English, as the Americans call it, the outside of the balls as they're lined up. It makes it easier to get the pot. I feel slightly aggrieved here. He actually played what was a very difficult pot, played in that way for the sake of position, but hasn't really had much position. By no means as easy a chance as the last time Isabella came to the table, but actually not a bad opportunity. Got 2 starting pots you can go for. You can go for one to the right of the red, to the top right, or probably more likely the one directly below the black. Can we cross it into the bottom right hand corner pocket? It's a bit fiddly, this position. I think there's only 1 yellow that doesn't quite go, but it's more what you do with the white just to hold position. And that's a brilliant nudge. It couldn't really have turned out much better. It was in the range of what she was playing. She was playing some kind of touch on that. It was hard to legislate for precisely where the ball was going to end up, but that really has turned out well. So we see Gary Swift in the background lining up a shot, just a reminder of the wheelchair match between Gary Swift and Frankie Gillen taking place on the other stream. Links to both of these either directly on YouTube or on the World 8 Ball Pool Federation's website, wepf.org. Part of our continued live coverage from this year's World 8 Ball Pool Championships, coming to you from the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. Commentary from this one from Mark Shepherd. With you throughout the final stages of this tournament. We've got 2.5 more days of live coverage to come, culminating with the men's and ladies singles finals at 1 PM on Friday. Lots more exciting action though before we get to that point. We started this morning with coverage of the seniors matches. We've now moved to the other end of the spectrum. We've got this match, which is the junior singles, followed by some under 23 singles coming up either at 2 o'clock or straight after these matches, whichever comes later. Back on the table, this has been very assured stuff so far from Isabella Giorgio. Supporters watching on proudly. You sometimes see people freeze in the headlights when they play on the stream table for the first time. There's been none of this. There's been none of this really from either player, but Jamie has just got himself into a couple of slightly awkward positional situations a couple of times. That wasn't by any means a formality, but it was a surprising miss in the context of how well she's played so far in this frame. I think that was the first ball that there was real pressure on, staring down the barrel of what could have been the 3-0 lead. Just slightly awkward, the cueing of that one. Still expected her to get it. Gilt-edged opportunity for Jamie there to make amends for the first couple of frames. Just needs to screw into the red on the left-hand side cushion. Well, that's okay. It's not the perfect outcome, but it could have been a lot worse. He could have knocked that red past the middle pocket, which would definitely have been worse. It's a bit ironic. He played a cannon on that because he wasn't sure that it was an easy drop in. If he thought the ball just dropped into the middle of the pocket, he wouldn't have played a cannon. But funnily enough, in playing the cannon, the ball has just dropped in cleanly. So this black, I think, does cut back into the top left-hand corner, but it's quite fine, and as a result of that, the white's going to be going around the table, try to keep some kind of control of the white. It's very much second prize. If you're going to miss a pot like that, for it to go safe in that position is always a relief. When you get close to the pot, it can sometimes just hang over the pocket. It's actually a pretty difficult safety shot. If the black was slightly further over, it would be a simple enough shot to chip it onto the side cushion. I think that's the shot she's going to have to play. I think she's going to have to hit the right hand side of this, just not try and be too ambitious, just knock the black onto the side cushion. And actually that's a good shot. That's not only is that a good containing safety, but it's not the easiest place to play a counter shot from. If the ball hadn't gone so far down the side cushion, it would have left an easier go at a double if Jamie had fancied it. He's still got the cross double. Decided that was the only sensible thing to go for. There wasn't an easy safety there. You can blame him. Picks out a good cross double. Only just had the angle to do that. It was very close to being a double kiss, but just able to hit enough of the ball. So, gets his first frame on the scoreboard. Isabella Giorgio leads Jamie Mantle by 2 frames to 1. So players back in the arena after a short break. Isabella that'll be breaking off in frame 4. She should be a little bit disappointed with the last frame. She had a reasonably clear shot at the black to take a 3 frames to 0 lead. She realises that she's not got the ball set up right, has a second go at that. Played pretty well so far though, so not too much to reproach yourself on. Always important to keep your opponent under pressure. Until Jamie got his first frame on the board, he was looking a little bit tentative, but then got offered a little bit of a lifeline in that 3rd frame, so 2 frame to 1, that's still anybody's game at the moment. Just waiting for Jamie to come back to the table. So Jamie back in the arena, picks up his cue, Isabella to break off in frame number 4. Cleanly enough struck break, but nothing down this time. Opting more for control than power. You see a few people hit it harder than that, although on the whole I would say that the breaks where people have been looking to control the balls and not just hit them as hard as possible have tended to be the more successful ones from what we've seen in recent matches on the stream. So Jamie in first and elects to take reds. Slightly underdone that one. You can see from the position of the 2 reds clustered together to the left of the black that wasn't going to be a simple opportunity for clearance. He was looking to get that red tighter over the corner pocket, try and wrest some kind of control of this frame. Get that one right, although I don't think she'd have been looking to ultimately go for clearance. I think she would have liked to have got that one in and just made a bit more progress. I think the plan there was to pot that ball, perhaps pot the one along the baulk cushion as well before looking to tie up the bottom left hand corner pocket. Choices here for Jamie. Can go for the clearance if he wants to. By doubling that one, he's now opened up the balls at the top of the table, so he now needs to screw down to this end. That's very close to what he wanted. I think he can just drop in behind these 2 reds. He wasn't playing it like that. I think he was going for the pot. He was just concerned that he didn't want to overrun with a white. I think his intention was just to pot that ball and drop in for the remaining 2 reds in the bottom right hand corner pocket as we look at it. It's a bit of a let off for Isabella and one that she's going to need to try to make something of. Going to pot into the middle or one into the corner to get started with. Decides on the safety instead. On the whole, you'd say that's a sensible option. My only slight reservation about playing a safety like that would be that she's giving Jamie a shot at these 2 reds that are currently tied up, which could have allowed him to promote them into a better position. He's kind of done that, but it's come at the expense of leaving his opponent a shot at these yellows. We're definitely getting towards the important part of this frame though, because the balls for both colours are pretty open. I feel Isabella would probably be better going for the clearance here. I'm not sure that being cagey would necessarily be a good idea. Just looking at whether the yellow on the left hand side of the table just above the red could be played. She can't see that much of it, but if she can see enough to play it in off the other yellow, or possibly indirectly, the yellow looks to be, as near as the left medal, looks to be a bit past the pocket, so I'm not sure it exactly makes it a big pocket. It's not a completely simple opportunity, but it's a very makeable one, and it's the kind of opportunity that I think you've got to be making at this level. That was a good positive shot. It made more sense, even though it wasn't a formality to play it off that yellow, it made more sense to play it like that because she could play it a bit firmer, whereas if she'd have tried to play it direct, she'd have had to drop it in a bit slower. Purposefully there leaving an angle. The last thing she would have wanted was to have been straight on the yellow along the top cushion. That could have been quite problematic. She's not got probably quite as much angle as she needed, but it was a trade-off between that and making the pot missable. So pot this, get the white coming down the table. Hold up her hand there, and she's apologising at the fact that the yellow has covered the red bottom left. If that hadn't have happened, this would have been a very simple clearance for Jamie. The only reason Isabella missed that pot was that she needed to get the white down the table, so was having to play it with a bit more pace. I think played dead weight, the shot was close to unmissable, but when they're on the cushion like that, there's always stuff that can go wrong. So it's make your mind up time with this. You can either play this relatively slowly and drop in behind the red to play it long to the top left hand corner, or you can play a cannon into it. Impressive level of self-restraint there. You can certainly make a case for that being the right shot. I quite fancied him to go for the clearance, but as you see from the way he's left his opponent, things not simple with the red, so no point taking unnecessary risk. Got to give him credit for still playing the right shots. He's 2 frames to 1 behind and hasn't had it all his own way so far, but doing the right things. Good level of respect between the players. We've seen a couple of moments of them tapping the table in appreciation, apologising on occasions when they've had a run of the ball. Don't know how much these two players will know of each other. I suspect that Jamie may not have seen that much of Isabella before. She's come over from Australia for this tournament. So would, I imagine, have been part of the junior scene, a very strong junior scene in the UK, certainly. Lots of good level tournaments the players would have played each other at. I suspect you may not have seen that much of her before. I've certainly seen enough in the first 2 frames though to understand the size of the task here. She smiles to herself and sees the funny side of that she's dramatically underhit that shot, and as a result has left the shot at the red can be clipped to the bottom right hand corner. Played that well, played a good cannon to hold position. Outwardly seeing the funny side, but I think inside Isabella will be kicking herself slightly for that. In an entirely straightforward position. She would have liked to make a bit more of it than that. So just this black stands between Jamie and levelling the scores at 2 apiece. Black safely down, that's exactly what has happened. think both players would have settled for that scoreline at the beginning of the match, and I think both players would probably have settled for that scoreline even once they'd played a few shots, because they both had opportunities in the early frames. 2 apiece. Probably a fair reflection of what we've seen so far. I think if anything, Isabella maybe ruining the opportunity to go slightly further ahead. She certainly had an opportunity to go 3-0 ahead, and had, albeit a slightly more difficult opportunity to go 3-1 ahead in that last frame. Best of 11 when we started off, that's now been reduced to best of 7 as the players have shared the first 2 frames. Well, that's a very good break in everything apart from the fact that he hasn't potted a ball. The split is good. The yellows are in a pretty attractive position to go for a clearance if one is so inclined. Hand and smiles in a slightly pained way at the camera. Should be relieved obviously that the white hasn't gone in, but she didn't quite get that right. The white shouldn't really have been going towards the corner pocket. She was focusing more on making the plant, which was understandable, but this has now made life a little bit tricky. Oh, good recovery shot though. That was a good shot under pressure, because the reds are relatively open, so she'll have known that if she missed that, she was always going to leave Jamie a shot at something. Well, that wasn't what she was trying to do. It's not perhaps the worst outcome. A slightly lucky shot. Jamie was trying to buy himself some time by covering up the yellow that's hanging over the top left hand corner pocket. You're always slightly scared when you play shots like that you don't want to accidentally pot the ball, because that would virtually gift your opponent a frame. Actually, what he has done hasn't really helped him very much. If you were being super positive, you might consider potting the yellow over, which is what she's doing. I actually like that, because I think the more negative mindset is to think, well, it's better to keep it there just in case I miss something else. But if you're backing yourself to go for the clearance, it was easier to get that ball out of the way. It would have been a little bit of a pain to have had to go back for it. She sets herself a fairly big challenge though, because she has this ball that she's attempting now is by no means a formality, being where it is close to the side cushion. Fearlessness of youth though. I think there would have been plenty of players who've had more knocks over the years that would have had slightly more negative thoughts in mind and might have been tempted to leave the yellow there as an insurance for later on. But I like the fact that she's done the right thing. Isabella's record in the team competition that she's been playing in this week. She's doing pretty well in that. She's at 66%. She's won 8 out of the 12 frames that she's played so far. In a tournament with a generally pretty high standard of play, so it's a reflection of the quality on offer. Still going in this clearance, but work to be done. Another good pot. Now just got to drop this yellow into the middle pocket. I think the obvious choice is to drop it in relatively slowly and just try to leave yourself some kind of shot at the black. You could potentially play it a bit firmer, run through for the black in the corner, but don't know whether she'll want to risk that. In fact it was more than straight enough. When she was first lining it up it looked like she might have a bit too much angle on that, but given how straight it was, no question of playing it any other way than the way she played it. That was a good clearance. That's the first of the 3 frames she's won where it's been a real clearance from the start. She's looked very assured in all of them, but that one was one that was very, very missable. So just take a moment to compose herself, come to the table to rack up for frame 6. It's Isabella Di Giorgio that leads Jamie Mantle by 3 frames to 2. This is the first match that either of these players have played in this junior singles competition. They've both been here playing in other events earlier in the week. They both had byes through the first round of the singles, so they've started their campaigns in the last 32. Plenty of work ahead from here though. Draw stacked full of good young players. Match so far that Jamie has always just been slightly behind 2-0 at one stage, got it back to 2-2, and has now slipped behind again. Still continue to play the right shots though. There's been little to criticise for in terms of going for stuff that was too adventurous. He's played a couple of shots that had a high technical degree of difficulty. Played 2 shots with a lot of side in the early couple of frames that were pretty ambitious and didn't quite come off. Since then he's perhaps reined things in slightly, played a couple of safety shots when I wondered if he might go for a pot, and he's done the right thing to get himself back into it. Relishing the prospect of having to queue over this red. It's amazing how much more difficult it makes a shot with the cue ball being smaller. You can see very little of it sometimes when you're queuing over an object ball. That was a well thought out shot. If she gets that red in or over the bottom right hand corner pocket, ideally over, she buys a considerable amount of control in the frame. Just left it slightly short. As a result of that, it's her opponent that has the first go at covering the pocket. Where the balls are positioned at the moment, with quite a few clustered over on the right hand side of the table, the availability of that bottom right hand corner pocket will be quite important in determining the outcome of this frame. Great view there of the tables behind in this arena at the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. This is one of 2 main playing rooms that are in use. You've got these two streaming tables, and the tables you can see stretching off down the room behind. There's then also another room of a similar size on the other side of the hotel where further matches are going on. Slightly different format this year in terms of the order of play. I don't think there's much pool to be played as in recent years. Reaching the business stages of most events now. Culminating in the finals, which means the ladies' finals will be at 1 o'clock on Friday. Other finals across the course of tomorrow and Friday morning. We'll be bringing you live coverage of both of these two feature tables throughout the duration of this tournament. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage from the last 32 junior singles match between Isabella Di Giorgio of Australia and Jamie Mantle of England. That's the Australian that currently holds a 3-2 lead. And what's been a good quality match so far. A couple of chances of gone a begging, but on the whole, both players have capitalised relatively well when given the opportunity. Very positive shot that from Isabella. Could have opted to perhaps tie things up, but gone the opposite way, keen to keep things out in the open. Sure whether or not he was intending to do that. I sort of instinctively feel the way he played that he was probably looking to pot that ball, but he'd certainly be happy to have perfected the cover over the pocket. So Isabella playing a shot deliberately to tie Jamie's ball up. He quickly responded by knocking it out. That foul actually won't prove, I don't think, ultimately too costly, although he's given 2 shots away. Isabella's problem is still the same one that she's had for the last couple of visits to the table, which is that this yellow is stuck over the bottom right hand corner. Depending on how aggressive she wants to be, she could elect to do some potting and then try to keep the visitors in hand. I was going to say to knock the red out from the bottom right hand corner. Possibly would have been a bridge too far, and she's decided against that route. I'd have to say, for players who, by virtue of their age, don't have as much match play experience as some that we'll see this week, they both look to know what they're doing. So there's always shots that one sees differently when watching at home or when sitting in the commentary booth, but on the whole they've both played a reasonably measured and sensible game so far. Throws the gauntlet down to her opponent, plays the deliberate foul. Isabella is on red, so by putting a yellow she's giving 2 visits away, but she does so in the knowledge that this is a pretty awkward position that Jamie's coming up to. If you tell he was unlucky there, perhaps could have hoped for slightly better. It was a reasonably sensible shot. What he was trying to do was to play one yellow into the other one that was tied up, with the hope of freeing them both up. In the end he's freed one up and put the other one back in its place, so not really much further forward. Got a bit of a problem here now though, because the reds are all in reasonably good positions apart from the one that's tied up, and even that one wouldn't be too hard to get out given the opportunity, so slightly running out of time on this frame. It's quite an expansive position shot there, playing with a lot of topspin and right hand side to try to force the cue ball around the angles. Oh, That's unfortunate.
Come on, Bella. Come on, Eve.
It was always going to be a fairly tricky shot. It was a very fine cut, but he was thinking that if he got the yellow over the corner pocket, that was going to block off the obvious path for the red that was up there. I mean, this could be worse, in fact, given what's happened, because he hasn't left an easy starting ball. So I would say the frame's still pretty much 50-50. You'd rather, in this kind of situation, be the player at the table. I think by virtue of being the player at the table, Isabella is likely to feel compelled to go for this. She's been fairly measured so far. I wouldn't be shocked to see her play a safety at some stage, but a safety is going to have to involve getting the yellow safe that's currently to the left of the black, close to the middle of the table. It's gone a bit astray. She's got into the cue ball a bit too much there. She's trying to come on and off the baulk cushion and leave a shot at the red that she's finished close to. Now the position is quite considerably more difficult. Going for a clearance from here would be fairly brave. The safety option isn't straightforward either. You really need to tie up the black or the yellow that's an open play. She was going to go for a safety. From her reaction, it was obvious she was going for the pot there. The yellow highlights onto the other one. If it doesn't, she should be able to get it pretty close. So, what do you fancy if you're Isabella here? The aggressive option is to put this red with backspin and right hand side and try and screw into the red that's tied up. It's not a certain shot though. It's not a safety shot. She could just try to play containing safety where she just doesn't leave a shot at the yellow, tries to tighten things up in the corner. She played it exactly like that, but that's a remarkably good shot. I didn't really see that being the right ball to play off, because there seemed a danger of leaving one of the two yellows, whichever way the red went. It seemed likely that it was going to open up one of the other ones, but she must have been playing something similar to what she played. I'm not certain you would have played to get the white quite as tight to the red as she ultimately did, but it turned out well nonetheless. So, Jamie playing a deliberate foul there. The vast majority of the times you're playing a deliberate foul like that, you'd be quite keen not to leave a touching ball, but I don't think you'd mind at all if you'd left a touching ball there, because it would, I was going to say, it would have meant that she couldn't play the red, which is the one she really wanted to. That's even without a cue was a little bit tricky over that. That's a fairly inexcusable mistake to have just gone on off. So I'm not sure I quite agreed with the choice of shot, in fact, in the first place, because just playing it off that red didn't seem like it was ever really going to open things up very much. So Jamie's just going to be a bit careful with how he plays this. Yeah, I think that's the better choice. It looked like he was lining up a plant to start with. There was a slight danger of knocking one of the balls safe in doing that. Just got to be careful. I was going to say, the only thing he doesn't want to do is just double kiss that yellow in and leave the white safe. I think it would have perhaps been better to have played that as a shot to set the yellow up if he wasn't certain that he could pot it and get the cue ball out. It was in the kind of position where it was always quite likely you would double kiss. Still always easy to be wise from the commentary box. Anything you ever say from watching from the multiple camera angles we have here and in the cold light of day, well, you're not the one out in the arena playing the shot has to be taken with a pinch of salt, because it's a very different situation when you're out there. Everyone's watching you. I think he can see enough of the black to cut it in the middle pocket. And there's the cue ball going straight in the corner. Well, I think both players will have a few things to think about from the end of that frame. That in-off was a little bit unlucky, but then the opponent had gone in off in a slightly strange way just before that to set the opportunity up. We saw a lot of good quality pool there. There were some good safety shots. There were a couple that I think you might take issue with at the very end of that, but not really would be being hypercritical. Either way, the equation is that it's Isabella that wins the frame and now leads by 4 frames to 2. As Jamie steps up to break in frame number 7. Showing no real signs of frustration so far. Jamie has maintained a pretty level demeanour the whole way through this match. I think there will be a few moments that he'll be a bit frustrated about. He's gone into a few positions that appeared like they might be winning positions for the frame in question. They haven't entirely materialised. No surprise, given how things have gone in the last frame or two, that he's going to be keen to get after a clearance here. Potted a yellow ball off the break and elected to keep with yellows. Don't think he's going to be looking for a clearance here though, because, well, he's been pretty close to potting that ball. I would have assumed he was playing to cover that pocket. I suppose that, actually, in fairness, where you see where the white's ended up, if he hits that a little bit thinner, the white comes 2 inches further to the left than it is now, and then he's got a double on the ball in the middle pocket. You can actually see a fairly clear path to victory. Don't think he'll mind though to have left the yellow there, because it's a pretty useful pocket to have covered. That, I don't think, has covered that corner pocket, which means that this clearance is back on again. Well, got caught in 2 minds there. Got caught between just potting that ball, which would have been easy enough, or playing it off the red, which I don't know about. I think from the way he missed it, he must have been playing it off the red, but that was never going to turn out too well, because there was a risk that the red was going to come in front of the yellow. Now, Isabella just needs to think about this a bit. I think she should probably reflect that what she really needs to do is just try to get a ball over the, what we're looking at as being the top left hand corner pocket. A reasonably good shot from Jamie. A couple of shots that both players have played that I'm not sure you would say were the orthodox shots. The last couple, I think Isabella might have been better potting a red to the middle and then looking to plant a red over the, well, this is the bottom left hand corner pocket of the table, but it's the top left as we look at it. If she can get this one in, I was going to say, she would have had a very good opportunity to get back into the frame. That was a tricky shot there, and that miss I think could prove to be quite significant. Well, say, neither player entirely following the orthodox script at the moment. That was a good shot insofar as he judged the cannon right and landed the white onto the yellow to knock it in or over the pocket, but the problem is now it's gone in. He's actually in quite an awkward position. I don't think he can see enough of the red that's nearest to the black to do anything with that, so he may have to go up the long one. Yeah, let's take this one on. I mean, I say that though he would be reluctant to do that. He wouldn't be reluctant because if he pots that, then the frame's at his mercy. But it's more that it was just quite a difficult shot from where he was. This is very much final saloon time though for Isabella. She's played a couple of safety shots in this frame that I think weren't quite telling enough. They weren't always straightforward, but she's got to get this one right. She's really running out of time. That's good. That is much better. Jamie can clearly enough pot the yellow top right if he wanted to, but I don't think he will want to. In fact, he's so little does he want to that he's played the deliberate foul immediately. This is an example of the way to play him, and not everyone agrees that this facet of the rules is a good one, but the rules are the rules. You can play a deliberate foul in the same way you can play an accidental foul. The consequences of both are the same. You give away 2 visits. It allows you to create these situations where you effectively throw the gauntlet down for your opponent. A couple of times when she's had 2 shots, Isabella's played shots with the first one that have seemed a little bit counterintuitive. There have been positions where you think you might be attempting to go for some kind of pot, even if it's difficult to maintain the second shot, or where you might be looking to get out all of your more difficult ones. Maybe, to be fair, she was looking to get out all of the difficult ones there. It just didn't quite come off, but it's left a little bit of a problem. I don't know if this red to the right of the cue ball might be played round the yellow into the top right hand corner pocket as we currently look at it. Looks like there may well be enough space for that shot. In fact, a deceptively large amount of space. You would have sworn blind that didn't go in apart from off the yellow, but the effect is the same. Making slightly hard work of this though, because it's a ball that doesn't go. I'll tell you what, that was a good effort at covering that pocket, because she was always going to be perilously close to going in off with the white. Managed to avoid doing that and got the red pretty close. The black may just squeeze past that red. We've just seen a ball squeeze past what seemed an impossibly small gap top right. I suspect the same will be true of the black. So Jamie just needs to bring the cue ball down what is the left hand side of the table if we were looking at it from the normal camera view at the back. So just effectively come on the top of the screen as we currently see it. So wants this to slow down. Does it go in the middle? It doesn't, it's got a problem. Just looking to stop the cue ball a foot or 2 short of that position so that he drops the yellow into the corner pocket and then playing across for the black. Forces the double largely because there's nothing else that could be done. By no means the worst outcome. He missed in the way he did. Could be expected to leave Isabella plumb in amongst these reds. If the cue ball was anywhere near the centre of the table, this would be a very easy opportunity. She was looking to double kiss that ball in and play it as a safety. I would assume play it as a safety, but it really didn't turn out quite right. Although it may actually have turned out almost to be a blessing in disguise, because although she's not got the black anywhere near being covered now, the black is in a fairly inaccessible position. Shuffle between the players. Neither of them completely getting a grip on this frame. It's been by far the scrappiest frame on the match so far. Which is going to happen at some point. More frames and short visits. So, Jamie having fouled, Isabella again has not made perfect use of her first visit. Watching this back afterwards, her putting has been of a very good standard. The only shots really that have been a little bit questionable have been the first visits of a couple of opportunities where she's seen her opponent foul and has come to the table with 2 goes. She's not always done enough with the first one. So it's going to be forgotten if she can clear up from here. So far she's looked pretty reliable clearing up from these kind of positions. Just looking at where the white would need to be to get on the red that's to the left of the black. Clearly goes fine, but you obviously don't want to leave yourself too much angle, and you certainly don't want to go the other way and leave yourself behind the black. But still less, do you want to do that? It just feels like one of these frames where neither player's quite got it right, and in the way that once the first shot goes wrong, things just seem to escalate from there somehow. Sensible enough containing shot though. This yellow is a very difficult plot indeed, queuing over the red, and there'd be no real advantage in plotting it. The black clearly doesn't go. There's no way in the world you're plotting this yellow and getting back for the black. Safety shots instead. Clearly turned out very well. A little bit unlucky to go in off. I'm not sure if the path you were taking you would have seen that as a particularly real risk of that shot, but I don't know whether that was quite a telling enough safety even before the in off. It actually requires a degree of thought. It may be safer to play the red that's nearest the black and play a cannon with a cue ball onto the other one. Or you could just clip the one nearest the pocket in and cannon the other one out. The important thing is you really do want to try and keep the 2 visits here. Yeah, so I'm able to. Well, it's like grimace, but that's fine actually. She can just set this one up. Wants to play off the right hand side of this red as we look at it. As long as she catches it fairly thin, the white will come further up the table than the red, and you're almost guaranteed a shot. Not perfect, but okay, I think. That's nothing. It's easy enough, it's just does the white go flying around the table, or should she play it slowly enough? No, she can play it slowly enough. So the player could reasonably have expected to win, but it's gone to Giorgio, does win it. Chances in a couple of these latter frames, but still did very well in the match, and on balance has looked the better of the players so far. She leads by 5 frames to 2. It's reasonably good value, I think, for that 5-2 lead. Frame number 8 is about to Giorgio, just needing 1 frame for victory. Patient for a moment though, because no balls are down off that break. I feel this match is slightly slipping away from Jamie now. It's actually looked pretty good for most of it, but just it's been the sort of 50-50 frames that he's just not quite got on the right end of. Feels to me slightly now he's just going to go for these and to hold the consequence. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be going for a clearance here, but he seems to be playing at a slightly faster pace than we've seen in the early running. Idea there, he needed to knock the black out. Not hard enough. So you can either take the red in the middle of the table up to the top right hand corner, or you can play the one that's over the top left. If he was, I think that was a sensible enough decision, because 2 pieces of balls that would have been hard to get out. Plenty of time if she wants it here. May just elect to tidy the table up a bit. He's on for a good cue, she is. A difficult shot, but nonetheless made it look easy, straight the ball in. Yeah, that's what I meant by tidying the table up. Although in other circumstances you'd be pretty reluctant to split up a cluster that involved one of your opponent's balls for fear of them clearing up. She was reasonably sure of the knowledge that the black wasn't going anywhere, so even if Jamie was to have taken those 3 reds, it still wouldn't have done much harm. He's played a good shot though. Another example of how you can use these rules to your advantage. The fact that you can play a foul deliberately if you choose to means that you don't have to play to get out of a snooker necessarily. You still concede the 2 visits, of course, which is what's happened here. So just a brief discussion between the players as to whether that was a touching ball. They agreed that it wasn't, so that made it a little bit harder for Jamie. He had to flick off the red. Seem very tactically aware. He played exactly the right tactical foul there. I imagine he's going to get the same treatment here. I think there would be a lot of purpose in playing out of this snooker. I mean, certainly could, but it's easy enough to hit a yellow. Yeah, that's fine as well. But I thought she might just nestle onto the side of the red, but the effect is pretty much the same. Whichever way you go about it, Jamie was going to end up in this kind of position with a shot at some stage. So ultimately all going to come down to that black. I presume he's not going to be keen to pot this red because I can't really see what the advantage would be. It's the fatal mistake in these situations though, of not keeping the red in play, because now Isabella, if she wants to, can play the black out, knock the yellow onto the black, or skim off the yellow and knock the white onto the black, get it uncovered at some stage, knowing that she won't have to leave a shot at the red. So she doesn't have to do it yet. It was perfectly sensible enough what she did there, but at some stage she wants to try and knock this cluster out, I think. I understand what she's thinking. She's played a good snooker there. I think it was possibly a case for playing a more aggressive version of that shot, where you don't worry so much about snookering your opponent, and instead you get your balls in the black all into potable positions, and just make sure you don't leave your opponent apart. That fluke hasn't materially changed the outcome of the frame. In fact, if anything, I'm sure if Jamie really wanted that ball to go in, because now he's got the problem of trying to play a safety shot off the black. It's very hard to see a position on the table where he's not going to leave some kind of shot at a yellow. He's looking at whether if he takes the white over to the right hand corner he leaves a difficult shot at least, possibly as much as he can hope for, or is he looking to put the black off the yellow? Yes, the black off the yellow in fact. So that'll be Jamie's last shot in this tournament. Can't fancy the position of these these yellows. Isabella's proved herself to be a good cueist in this match. She's not shied away from these opportunities. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage from the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool of the junior singles event of the 2018 World 8-Ball Pool Championships. Commentary from Mark Shepherd for this one. Bella raises her eyebrows, and well she might. She's not left her opponent an easy black. She had victory in the palm of her hand there. Those yellows were in a promising position to declare that. To miss the first one was hugely disappointing. And how important a turning point could that be in the match? Good black there from Jamie Mantle. Gets himself some kind of foothold in this match. He's been behind all the way, levelled it up at 2-all, but then went behind again. Never so far been ahead in this match, and he's not going to be ahead until he wins it, if he does eventually win it. He's going to have to do this the hard way. But he did what he needed to in that frame. So Jamie Mantle steps up to break in frame number 9. He currently trails by 3 frames to 5. Good solid hit on the pack. Is this yellow going in? Yes, it is. That could be very important in the context of this frame and match. Yellow ball potted gives Jamie the first go at the table. Opting for reds, and these are pretty well positioned. I think on the balance of what we've seen so far, 5-3 is a perfectly fair enough scoreline. Isabella will be disappointed not to have wrapped the match up already. She had a good opportunity in the last frame. At the same time, she's playing a decent opponent and is leading by 5 frames to 3, so nothing to be beating himself up over at this stage. Noticeable how much quicker Jamie plays when he's in amongst the balls. I'm not surprised. That tends to be a characteristic of most players. When they're on a clearance, it's easier to be fluent than when you're having to think more about safety shots. not seen any clearances from the break in this match. We've seen some good clearances later on in the frames, but if Jamie can clear up the first visit here, that will go a long way to building his confidence. He's just came a few inches past prime position. If he was a bit straighter on this road, he'd have been able to just drop it in and hold for the black. Shot to an extreme side. In this case, as with the earlier ones, you increase the difficulty tariff of the shot quite considerably. If he's going to play this with digging down with a lot of right hand side, and make an unmissable pot slightly missable, he's also really achieved much by playing with so much side. In retrospect, I think it might have been easier to play with the other side and deliberately play around two cushions slightly in no man's land. But still, he's passing the ball, which is the main thing, and he's got a shot on the black, which is definitely the main thing.
Come on, Bella.
I'd be hugely disappointed not to have cleared from the break, even for no other reason than because it's always nice in a match that's being streamed and that your friends and family are watching and to get visits knocked off in one visit. I'd have to say though, Jamie's still a favourite for this frame. This is not a bad position, but it's not by any means a good-edged opportunity for Isabella. First important part of the task dealt with though, she's dispatched the yellow along the cushion, which could have posed a difficulty. It'd be nice to see her win this match in a positive spirit. She's played in a positive spirit and has looked to be a good quality cueist. If she can clear these balls up, she's now looking considerably more likely than a moment ago. This would absolutely be a deserved victory. Interesting to see how she reacts from the experience of the last frame where she missed a ball that could have led to the winning clearance. It was pretty unexpected at the time. So far she seems to have harnessed that disappointment in the correct way. As I say that, she's slightly misjudged that positional shot. Played it in a positive way, which was absolutely right, but it's just got into the ball too much with topspin, or not enough. I think she was intending to come off the ball cushion a lot. The net result was that the clearances had to go on hold for a moment to really contain on safety. A couple of different options for Jamie. He can look to come off the right hand side cushion. There's a lot of space to do that. He's going to have to straighten the ball up or widen the angle with side. The natural angle that yellow is slightly in the way. Maybe come just above it. You could also look to come down the left hand side of the table, which is much easier from the perspective of hitting the black, but he's not going to pop the black if he comes down the left hand side, whereas if he was to make a decent contact off the right hand side cushion, he potentially could pop the black. Just trading the different risk and reward of these shots. Also wants to be mindful of where he's going to leave the cue ball after this. If the black doesn't go in, and maybe even if he doesn't hit it, the white being tight over on the left hand side of the table is at least making life a bit more difficult for his opponent. For a range of different shots here. Looks like he's going for the deliberate foul option. As to how good a shot that is will be determined entirely by whether this yellow goes past the black. I would assume that the left hand most of the yellows does go off the cushion and off the black. If it does, I'm not sure that's the greatest safety shot, because giving an opponent 2 visits with a reasonably open table. She is playing the shot at distance though. If she could get a hand on the table, this would be much easier to play off the cushion. Quite a long way for both the white and the yellow to travel. This is a formality. Well, that's pretty good. In would have been better because she would have kept 2 shots and she would have had 1 less ball to deal with. Still an okay position. The difficulty here is that the easiest pot now to take on is obviously the short straight one into the right hand centre, but if she does that, the remaining 2 balls don't link up very well. Can she get this hard enough to force through? No. So the first of these pots is easy enough, but she's then going to have to play a good shot to get. She's only going to have to come twice across the table to drop back in behind the uppermost yellow into the same pocket. Or she's going to have to find some kind of more creative option. This is by no means a certainty. If she's going to cut this ball down the cushion and get position, you'd make the pot miss a bit. Well, that's not. It's not the best and it's not the worst. I understand why she did that. The difficulty of getting the cue ball the other side of that yellow was that you were going to have to dig down on it and play with a trace of side, and that made the pot missable. So I don't blame her for not doing that. The problem is she's now ended up in this kind of no man's land. Take on a difficult shot on the yellow. She could cross double it, she could maybe drop it in the middle. She seems to be lucky that it cut the line. I don't quite know what that would do. She has the white tight to the top cushion, maybe there's no means of safety here. I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. The degree of difficulty of that shot was very high. It was very, very high. I think given the way the match has gone so far, she might, looking back on this, conclude that leaving the white in the middle of the bottom cushion and just leaving Jamie a difficult shot at that black might have been the wiser option. Okay, he's going to put it sometimes, but better to leave your opponent a difficult black than an easy one. And really, that shot, I mean, she made a decent fist of that shot, but really, that is not a shot that you're going to get a high percentage of the time, considering yellow all the way up the lap of the table like that. So again, when I said at the beginning of the match that it's much easier playing all of these shots from the commentary box, and I'm impressed with both of these players. So simply no cause for criticism over their shot selection, but I think that final one, with the benefit of hindsight, was perhaps pushing the boat out a little bit further than it needed to go. I don't know which of the players will be happier with this scoreline actually. Clearly you'd rather be 5-4 up, but having lost the last 2 frames, I think Isabella is going to be feeling under an amount of pressure here. It tends to be the way that these things go, that if you miss an easy opportunity in one frame to clinch a match, the opportunities become successively more difficult. That's pretty much been the pattern so far. Isabella had the opportunity to win 6-2 and missed the first frame. The first ball looked a reasonably straightforward clearance. She then went after a slightly more difficult clearance in that frame and fell slightly short. Is she going to get a better chance in this frame? It's been an intriguing match so far. It's been generally a good quality of play. There's a couple of things that both players will wish they could have again, but for the most part, both have given a good account of themselves, making their first appearance of the week on the stream for a singles match. Just a reminder that we're running 2 streams in parallel today. If you search on YouTube for the English Pool Association, or look on the World 8-Ball Pool Federation's website, wepf.org, find the links to both of the streams. This one that you're currently watching, live action from the last 32 of the junior singles, is Giorgio of Australia taking on Jamie Mantle of England. Commentary from me, Mark Shepherd. The other stream, the wheelchair match between Gary Swift and Frankie Gillen. And commentary comes from Joe Fanto.
Come on, Bella.
Also, just a reminder of what we've got coming up after this. The next match on these 2 tables will be the quarter-final of the under-23 singles. Match 1, Zach Cooper against Cormac Kerr. Match 2, Martin Dunn against Adam Maher. Those matches scheduled for a 2 o'clock start. We were a little bit late getting underway with both this match and the match between Gary Swift and Frankie Gillen on the other tables. So both of these still in play at the moment. These under 23 matches will follow in due course once these ones are finished. Right now though, the audience, I'm sure, are enjoying this match, as am I. It's been nice to see 2 players that we haven't seen so much of in the stream stages of the tournament in previous years. It's particularly nice to see all the way over from Australia giving such a good account of herself so far. Isabella play. It's certainly been very impressive what I've seen so far. I was about to say one for the future, but one for the present, frankly, because she's giving a very good account of herself in this tournament. To admire the commitment of the Australian players as well. 24 hours plus of travelling to get over to the UK. This year we've treated them with some unseasonably good weather. It's been one of the first times, or many times I've been up to Blackpool where I've spent the entire time up here being too hot so far. Beautiful sunny day outside on the seafront. Holiday makers enjoying the good weather outside. House inside in the Imperial Hotel. This is one of 2 rooms we've got going. You can see the tables behind where various other team matches are going on at the moment. There's also another room which is anything slightly bigger than this one on the other side of the hotel. And there's also a lot of action underway. Play at the Imperial Hotel's been in progress for a week or so now. Culminates with various finals tomorrow, and then going into Friday morning and Friday lunchtime when the 2 showpiece events, the men and ladies singles finals at 1 o'clock on Friday. Bringing you live coverage throughout. So cagey this match, this frame at least, which is no surprise. It's often the case as the scoreline gets closer that the tension is magnified. So the Reds are in a slightly better position than the Yellows, just by virtue of the situation bottom left where it's the red that's closer to the pocket. Safely in, but just slight frustration. She missed the cannon, so to hold the cue ball on one or more of the balls in the centre of the table, which didn't quite materialise. Bonus if that one went in.
Come on, Bella.
Has the potential to slide the frame down a little bit. Jamie sensibly playing a containing shot where he tried to tie up the bottom left-hand corner pocket. It was in fairly immediate peril otherwise. Isabella, as she's done a couple of times, playing the sensible, deliberate foul when the opportunity presents itself. The reason that opportunity presents itself is because even though she's giving 2 shots to Jamie, he's still got that problem bottom left.
Someone is.
Dangerous shot. She can quite see enough of this red to get it past the yellow. It does go past the yellow, but it's slightly covering it. If she can do something with this red of the first shot, she should be well away here. If not, the position's a bit more difficult. I'd be inclined personally to try to deal with this red that's to the left of the black one way or another, whether she can clip it towards the pocket or whether she just has to set it up. I think it's probably better to do that first. The risk of going up the table first, just glanced a couple of times at the other ball, but I don't think that would have been a good idea to move that. No, that's absolutely the right shot, and that's turned out pretty well. The black does go past the 2 yellows in the bottom left-hand corner of the table. So, can she wrap up what's been a strong performance so far? Isabella Di Giorgio 3 balls away from winning this singles match. Joe Fanto joining me in the commentary box. Proud Australian to see your girl doing well here. She's leading 5-4.
I did catch a glimpse of this match, how it was going, and yeah, she's certainly done us proud. She's a very young career, but certainly making a name for herself. Put the markers on her.
It's been a good performance by both of these players. She's been good value for this 5-4 lead. She's been on balance the better player, but Jamie's played a big part in this match. She's had a couple of opportunities to wrap this up in earlier frames. Hasn't quite managed it, and again, just slightly fallen at the final hurdle. Decided to go for power there. It might have been a case of playing a little bit slower, but easy to say with hindsight. If you play it slowly, sometimes it just hangs over the pocket.
Maybe it was the excitement of seeing that gap. But yeah, regardless of the result, she's a very composed young lady, and Jamie.
Well, that's a particularly bad mistake. It's not just that he's let his opponent back to the table, but he's let his opponent back to the table with a foul snooker, which is what she may very well need to get this black out. Although, strange as it sounds to say, this is actually not a formality. Even with 2 shots and a foul snooker, she can take the yellow. It's a free ball now, can she?
She's just dominating that yellow to the right.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. I wasn't sure whether she could see enough of the black. The fact she can just play off this yellow, she can play to pass it, will just drop off it and then roll the black in.
Definitely served 2 shots.
Yeah, she's played a very measured game. She's looked both knowledgeable and a good cue and deserves that win.
This is what I say. She's one of the most composed young juniors that I've ever seen come through the ranks. She's playing like this now. She's been playing like it for the last 2 or 3 years from a really young age. Congratulations, Isabella. I'm sure there's some proud parents in Australia. And as well.
A good and well deserved win from Isabella Di Giorgio, who prevails by 6 frames to 4 over Jamie Mantle, who very much played his part in that match but fell just short at the end. We'll be back very shortly with continued live coverage. Up next is the quarter-finals of the under-23 singles. We've got Zach Cooper against Cormac Kerr, and on the other table Martin Dunn against Adam Mayhem. Join us then.
6, 25 from England, Barbara Taylor from England.